Today we're heading up El Padre Mountain, which is La Madre Mountain's neighbor to the immediate west. El Padre Mountain has a beautiful view of Red Rock Park, which hopefully we'll get to the summit and be able to see that amazing view. So today's side theme is navigating temperature in the desert. And the temperature in the Las Vegas Valley is predicted to be 91 degrees today. But when you're looking at temperature, you got to look at a number of factors. First of all, it's not going to be 91 degrees at the summit of El Padre Mountain. It's currently about 5:45 a.m. It's 61 degrees right now where I'm standing. I'm about 4,000 feet. Every 2,000 feet elevation gain, you drop about 5 degrees in temperature. I'm predicting that I will be in roughly 70 to 75 degrees all the way up to the summit of El Padre Mountain. And then on the way down, as I approach this starting point at Kyle Canyon Road, I will be getting into the hottest part of the day, which we could be up to around 85 degrees by the time we reach this point again and end our journey. So there's going to be a hot period of time, not as bad as that 91 in the Las Vegas Valley, because we're still at 4,000 feet here. Las Vegas Valley's about 1,000 feet, and so I think temperature wise we're going to be okay. I did bring 2.5 liters. Let's see. No, wait a minute. Totally wrong. I brought 6 liters of water, and the backpack is pretty heavy right now. It weighs about 23 pounds, but I'll be drinking a lot of that weight down, and I imagine that things are going to get really light by the end of this journey. So here we go, up to La Padre Mountain. And by the way, the route is Harris Springs Road. We're at the intersection of Kyle Canyon and Harris Springs Road. So we're going to head over to Harris Springs Road and then head up along Harris Springs Road to a 4-wheel drive road. It's about 3 miles or so from where we're standing now. We'll take a left on that 4-wheel drive road that'll take us to the base of El Padre Mountain, and then we head straight up a ridge to the top of El Padre Mountain. So I have not been there before. That's how I predict it will be, and that's based on the ridge. Here we go. This is the ridge that we head up. That little pointy ridge. We're going to get to the top of that ridge, and then behind it is El Padre Mountain, and here is La Madre Mountain, the neighbor. So we're going to head up that ridge and then hit the summit of El Padre Mountain if everything goes well. Okay, here we go. We are at the first waypoint. You're looking at the intersection of Harris Springs Road and the little 4-wheel drive road that heads up to La Madre Mountain. And that 4-wheel drive road, I know it's got a name. It probably has a number to it from the BLM, but I'm just going to call it the North La Madre Mountain Wilderness Approach Road. And anyway, this is going to take us up to the base of La Madre Mountain and El Padre Mountain, which is our goal for today. Just to give you an idea where we are, Mount Charleston Wilderness, the ridge between Harris Springs Road and Kyle Canyon Road, they run pretty much parallel. You can see the tip of the Sheep Range over that ridge. And then looking straight down Harris Springs Road into the sun, Gas Peak is that pointy peak that's in the center. And then here's a ridge that we needed to circle around. That's why this road starts out over here. It circles around this ridge and then heads up toward La Madre Mountain. And just a quick note on altitude. We're at about 4,800, 4,900 feet, just about 5,000 feet. And if you don't have an altimeter, one way to tell altitude in a desert environment like this is that the Joshua trees are the thickest between about 4,500 and 5,000 feet, or 5,500 feet. And so if you don't have an altimeter and you see Joshua trees like this around you, you know you're between 45 and 5,500 feet. Okay, another note is we're talking about temperature today, so I'm going to just give temperature readings as we go. We are now at about 57 to 58 degrees Fahrenheit temperature, and it's pretty much holding to what I said, 5 degrees per 2,000 feet elevation gain. However, you'll notice it's a little cooler than when we started. We've ascended probably 300-400 feet, and it's been a gradual ascent. But the reason that it's actually a little cooler now, but not, I don't know, there's another factor that's coming into play today, and that factor is that the sun's coming up. And so the temperature that I mentioned, the 5 degrees cooler per 2,000 feet, that's given the same time of day, the same conditions of the sun. But as you can see, the sun has risen, and it's now starting to shine on us. And so that's going to be raising the temperature, but my ascent in altitude is going to be lowering the temperature. So somewhere in there, it'll even out. As I said, I'm predicting through the day, we'll average between 160 to 170, 60 to 75 degrees, not 160. This would be the last time you heard from me if that was the case. So between 60 and 75 degrees. And because we're going up in altitude, our total altitude ascent is going to be about 4,000 feet from where we began. El Padre Mountain is about 8,000 feet elevation. We began around 4,000 feet, and here we go up this this four-wheel drive road. And so anyway, that pretty much gives you the lay of the land at this point, and I'm going to start running again. I just wanted to show this little waypoint. Okay, here we go. Okay, now let's get the lay of the land a little bit. And since we looked at the La Madre Mountains wilderness from a high perspective, and you can see in LasVegasAreaTrails.com. If you go to the La Madre Mountains high perspective page, you'll see what things look like from this. There's La Madre Mountain, and just to the right, you see the Devil's Slide, but then a little below, there's a high hill, a high point. We stood on that point last week and just looked around to see where the mountains are located and how things look at a high point in the La Madre Mountains wilderness. And we were able to piece everything together. So here you see on the left, La Madre Mountain. Just to the right of it, the Devil's Slide. And to the right of that, that hill, which is the high perspective. All of that is on La Madre Mountain. Then you see where it dips down. This dip is actually the summit of what I call the La Madre Mountain Southern Pass, which is at the top of Calico Canyon. It begins, and it's the pass that goes between the La Madre Mountain and El Padre Mountain cliffs. And you can see on the La Madre Mountain South page where we climbed near to the summit of that pass, just within a few hundred feet. And we'll actually summit that pass in maybe this fall. And one little great adventure that I've added that's going to be coming up is what I'll call the El Padre Mountain Loop. There's El Padre Mountain right in the center, and that's the cliff. If you're standing in Red Rock Park and you're looking at the La Madre Mountain, or if you're in Calico Basin, you're looking at the cliff of La Madre Mountain and El Padre Mountain. The southern pass is right between, but you can actually ascend that southern pass and then go along the top of El Padre Mountain and then down the, what you're looking at here is the right side. If you're in Calico Basin, it would be the left side. So I'm going to call that the El Padre Mountain Loop, and we'll do that at some point. Another adventure coming up is what I call the Grand Crossing, which is starting out at Kyle Canyon and Harris Springs Road, that intersection, as we did today, only ascending up to El Padre Mountain and then descending into Calico Basin and then over to Red Rock Park and ending at Turtlehead Peak. So, or the Turtlehead Peak Trailhead, which is the sandstone quarry in Red Rock Park. That would be a really cool experience to ascend from Kyle Canyon Road all the way up to El Padre Mountain and then down into Red Rock Park. And so we'll do that. That may be this fall also, because the temperature is rising. We'll be looking at 100 degrees in the Las Vegas Valley within a couple weeks from now. Okay, so there's El Padre Mountain, and to the left, La Madre Mountain. So La Madre, El Padre, and then you see this this hill here, pointy hill. This is actually what we're going to ascend today. And once we get to the very point at the top, then we found out last week from our high perspective that it continues on over to El Padre Mountain. So we're going to ascend to the top of this pointy hill, take a circle around to the left, and end up at the summit of El Padre Mountain. That is our hope. I never know what's going to actually happen from day to day. We have not ever done this before, which is true of just about every adventure I've done lately. But one thing I can say is from that summit of El Padre Mountain, there should be a spectacular view of Red Rock Park and Calico Basin, and then you'll be able to look back in this direction and see Kyle Canyon Road and Kyle Canyon area. You'll be able to look over in this direction and see tremendous views of the Mount Charleston Wilderness. You'll be able to look immediately to the west of El Padre Mountain and look all the way down the Keystone Thrust. You'll be able to see amazing views of La Madre Mountain from just to the southwest. And then you'll be able to look down and see there's the Sheep Range, but you'll get a much better view and a view of Gas Peak. Be able to look down into the Las Vegas Valley and see Centennial Hills area and much of the Las Vegas Valley, and Frenchman Mountain and out to Lake Mead. So we're looking at just an amazing perspective from the summit of El Padre Mountain, if we can make it up there today. So we'll see how things go. I hope that I can show you those views before the day is out. Okay, we are continuing on up. Okay, here's a closer perspective, and this is La Madre Mountain. See the Devil's Slide, and then this little hill just to the right is the high point where we achieved last week, and we got a look around the upper part of La Madre Mountain. And then you look over here and you can see the summit of the Southern Pass coming into sharper view. How to get up from Calico Basin up to this area. And then you see El Padre Mountain. And then, to give you an idea where we're headed, see this hill, this pointy hill, and there's a ridge that goes right about down the center. We're going to head up that ridge to the top of the hill and then circle around to the left, east, and end up on the summit of El Padre Mountain, if everything goes well. We'll see. Okay. This four-wheel drive road, there's going to be a split. There is one branch that goes off to the left and one branch that continues on up to the right. I usually take the one to the right. Well, in fact, I always take the one to the right. That leads to the turnaround at the end of this road and a higher location, which then sets me at the highest point, the top of this road, to then head into the wilderness. So just remember, watch for this split right near the top of the four-wheel drive road. And head to the right if you want to go the way I went. We're at the turnaround at the very top of the four-wheel drive road. And now we look up and there's La Madre Mountain. And right between La Madre and El Padre is that upper passageway from the south climb. And then here's El Padre Mountain. And where we're headed now is the top of this pointy hill. And you can see there's a ridge. There are two ridges, one that kind of circles around a little bit on the left side, and then another one that that goes straight up. I'm going to see if I can hit that one that goes straight up, and once we get to the top of that ridge, we'll see. It should be a pretty easy left turn and circling around to the summit of El Padre Mountain. We'll see. That the top of this ridge here, that pointy spot, is probably 7,500 feet. We are now at 5,800 feet. So we got a couple thousand feet to ascend, but it's about 7,500, and the top of El Padre is 7,800. So it should be a fairly easy 300-foot gradual ascent to the top of El Padre Mountain, but we don't know because we haven't been up there before. We'll find out today. And just to do an update in temperature, curiously, it is now 71 degrees. We started out at 4,500 feet. Now we're at 5,800 feet. It was 61 degrees, but earlier in the morning before sunrise, at the 4,500 foot point. Now it's risen 10 degrees, but as you can see, the sun has come up and is shining right down on us. But still, 71 degrees is not bad down in the Las Vegas Valley. I would predict it's closing in on 80 degrees at the moment. And right now, if we were standing on top of El Padre Mountain, we'd be back in 61 degrees. It's probably going to be around 70 degrees at the top of El Padre, maybe 75 degrees. And so we should be in about 70 degree weather all the way up to the summit of El Padre Mountain. Because as we rise, the temperature goes down, but then the sun's also rising and everything's heating up. So that should equal things out, we hope. Okay, onward. Just to get us started here at the loop end of this four-wheel drive road where we now enter into the wilderness, I'm going to show you how to connect with the there will be a trail for just a very brief period. So we're here at the left side of the loop, and it looks like there's a little path here. Sure enough, it is a little path, and so we head this way on the path. And now here's the deal. When we were heading up La Madre Mountain, we kept to the left, but there's a little split off that goes to the right. I'm going to take this split off to the right today, and hopefully that is going to get us onto that ridge that we want to ascend to the summit of this pointy hill in the center. So here we go, and it's pretty much anything that looks like a trail has now disappeared. So just keep your sights on that ridge and weave through the trees and the brush and don't disturb anything. Well, what do you know? It looks like we almost have the semblance of a trail here that is heading up this ridge. Maybe this is the more common way to get up to La Madre Mountain. I do not know, but we're going to continue on up. This is pretty nice so far, but you know how these trails go. They appear and then they disappear. You can see there are some ribbons tied around bushes. So these pink ribbons have been marking the way so far. I am not knowing if when they're gonna give out on me. I've seen that happen quite a bit. Let's take a 360-degree view though. Here we're looking down, well, not down, up at Mount Charleston Wilderness, and then down into Kyle Canyon. It's a little hazy just because the temperature is so high today. Down in the valley it's hazy. There you can see the sheep range. All of these will be coming into sharper view as we ascend. But for now, just continuing along this little trail. And wouldn't it be nice if it took us all the way up to the summit of El Padre? Save a lot of time. And maybe we could even circle around to La Madre Mountain. Don't know. At least we're going to shoot for El Padre today. Okay, onward. One quick note on timing. It took about 2.5 hours to get to the top of the four-wheel drive road from our point of origin at the intersection of Harris Springs and Kyle Canyon Road. You can't see that from here. It's over this ridge that you're looking at. It took me last week about an hour and 5 minutes or so to get from the summit of the four-wheel drive road back to that return trip back to Harris Springs Road and Kyle Canyon Road intersection where we started. So what took me 2.5 hours coming up took me about an hour and 5 minutes going down. So that gives you an idea. We have ascended quite a bit, probably ascended close to, I'd say 1,600 feet at this point, and we've got a couple thousand feet, well, maybe 1,800 feet now to the our first summit, which you can't see from here anymore. So we'll get a better look in a moment. Well, what looked like a little trail keeps appearing and disappearing, so don't try to find the trail. Just stay to the center of this ridge, or and weave around. The trail will appear and disappear as you ascend in a logical manner, right up the center of the ridge. And so that's the only advice I can give at this point. Here we have the La Madre Mountain area. That's La Madre Mountain. And we ascended to this high point where we have the La Madre Mountain Wilderness High Point Perspective on LasVegasAreaTrails.com. And you can see just to the right, we're hitting that pointy area that's just, well, right in the center here. That is the summit of the Devil's Slide, and then just to the right of that is the true summit of La Madre Mountain. So gives you a perspective where all we are here as far as La Madre Mountain goes. Can't see anything else because we're except for the Mount Charleston Wilderness right in this area. So we continue on up, and let's see what things look like at the top of this next rise. Okay, there's the top of the rise there. We're still heading up, but I just wanted to show you this. Looks like here we are. We've met the trail again. As I said, disappears and reappears. So you're weaving around, but here's a little hopeful sign. There is a cairn. So somebody's saying You are on the right path. Keep going up. So here we go. I'm liking this route. It is, I'm heading continually up the ridge. It is very steep. Not steep in terms of losing your footing, but just steep in terms of the ascent. It's a bit of a marathon, but it heads straight up. And hopefully at the top of this next rise, we'll see a way up to the top of the final rise in the center there, which is a place where we'll be looking across at El Padre Mountain and have ascended most of our ascent for the day. So this is like putting money in the bank, gaining what I call gravity points. And so let's take a look where we are. El Padre Mountain right over that ridge in the foreground. La Madre Mountain straight in the center. And let's see. Yeah, there's the high point we reached on the La Madre Mountain high perspective. We looked around from that point. Looking around here, that pointy area is the top of the Devil's Slide. And right in the center there, that high point is the summit of La Madre Mountain. Of course, we're not heading there today, but we are really ascending in a nice gradual, well, steep, gradual, rapid way. No class 3 sections thus far. Nothing really difficult at all. It's just a marathon ascent, getting up the 2,000 feet from the top of that four-wheel drive road to the summit of this hill in the background there. And let's do a 360-degree view. There is a peak that you see. If you look at the La Madre Mountain West page, you can see the other side of this peak. It's on the Keystone Thrust, as is the summit we're looking toward, and as is La Madre Mountain and El Padre Mountain, all on the Keystone Thrust. And looking down from those points, you should be able to see Calico Basin and Red Rock Park. Awesome views. Okay, panning around. Here is the Mount Charleston Wilderness, and we're looking at 11,060 foot Griffith Peak. And just to the right, we're looking at Harris Mountain, about 10,300 feet approximately. Yeah, Griffith Peak, 11,060 feet. And then the very tip of Mount Charleston, or Charleston Peak, you see the snow there, 11,900 and maybe 20 feet. And then panning around, there is Lee Peak, around 11,000. And here is Mummy Mountain right in the center. And then just that green hill in front of Mummy Mountain. Not a hill, it's the 10,300 foot Fletcher Peak. And then Mummy Mountain, 11,500 feet. And then continuing, well, let's get a look at that whole perspective here. There you go. Mount Charleston Wilderness. Panning around, there's the Mount Charleston Observatory on this hill. Little white ball you saw there, that's the observatory. And then looking down on Kyle Canyon. And, oh, this is interesting. Here is the Sheep Range, but the interesting thing is there's a reflection coming off the summit of Gas Peak. So take a look there at the summit and you see that reflection. That's probably the towers at the summit of Gas Peak hitting the sun just right. So that's pretty cool. And then continuing around, and here you are back at La Madre Mountain. So I'm going to do a silent pan here, just to, well, I said silent, didn't I? Okay. Okay, one more landmark. See, I can't keep quiet too long. One more landmark that just came into view is, you can see, looking straight down here, you can see the intersection of Harris Springs Road and Kyle Canyon Road. That's that straight dirt road line. And then if you look from the end of that line to the left, you see an area that's it looks like an unpaved lot, which is exactly what it is, and that's where the beast is parked, and that's where we began our adventure today. Okay, so you can see we have ascended a couple thousand feet by now, and probably at least 10 or 11 miles. Here's the summit of that next rise along this ridge. And as you can see, it is getting rocky. So just a little bit of, I don't know if it's class 3 yet, maybe class 2. I haven't had to touch my hands to any rocks yet to keep my balance. So I would say that's probably class 2. Class 3 is when you're needing to hold on to the rocks and use at least 3 points of contact. Okay, and here's where we're headed. This ridge. And you can see we're closing in. We are approximately at closing in on 7,000 feet, and probably the top of this next ridge in the foreground, or rise in the foreground, is around 7,000 feet. But you can see to get up there, we're going to be navigating some rocks now, and so that should be interesting. And we might have a little bit of a class 3 experience going over this next rise. But then after that, it's just an avalanche slope that looks like it's pretty much straight up. We don't know. We'll find out. So here you have La Madre Mountain, and looking around, let's see. A little harder to keep my balance in this area, and that's what's starting to happen here. There's the sheep range, and you can still see the summit of Gas Peak reflecting the sun. Let's take a look closer here. There it is. Probably those solar panels up there. There's Mount Charleston Wilderness. And then panning around, of course, we're losing our view here due to this beautiful juniper tree. There you go. And there's a hawk soaring around up there. So just the hawks and those people who ascend to this point. Okay, onward. Continuing from summit to summit, we're at the summit of the next rise, and we see ahead of us 1, 2, 3 more rises that we can see. Who knows what else lies between us and the very summit that we're shooting for, or at least that first summit. Before El Padre Mountain, we turn left up at the top there and head to El Padre Mountain. Okay, so, and ways continue to appear. I'm not sure I could go over the top of this little rise, but then it looks like there's a nice little way down here, and not bad. More gradual. But then there's another rise immediately up ahead. We don't know what lies beyond that, or how that is either level or difficult. But so far, nothing beyond class 2. I haven't had to use my hands on the rocks yet. And here's the 360-degree view. You can see the ridge we've been ascending, and the series of rises that we have reached and passed along the way. And I think you might be able to see down in the distance there, actually, the little road, the turnaround at the summit of the four-wheel drive road, right down in the center there. Pretty beautiful up here. Okay, let's continue on up. Temperature and altitude check time. It is now 74 degrees where I'm standing, so yeah, it's going to be hot, especially descending and heading back down to our point of origin down there. Yes, we'll probably be in 80 degrees plus temperature, maybe even 90 degrees. So that's going to be a little different than we've encountered before. And we're about at 7,000 feet right now, so about 800 feet to go, and we'll be on the summit of El Padre. After about 4 high points, I thought that there'd only be 4 or 5. I just kept seeing one high point after the other on this ridge, so I stopped taking pictures or videos from the summit of the high points. decided just to keep on forging ahead. And so we are indeed heading up the ridge and looking down. Let's see. You're looking down straight at the end of the four-wheel drive road and the turnaround. So that gives you an idea the distance we've arrived at. And then you'll see the straight road, the straight unpaved road, which is Harris Springs Road. And where it ends up there is Kyle Canyon Road, and then just going a little to the left is the location where we have parked the Beast and where we started today. So now you get an impression of how far we've come. Now, in addition, let's keep circling around. There is the sheep range. Circling around, here is La Madre Mountain. That La Madre Mountain high point from last week, high point perspective, was right there. And you can see the next summit after that is the top of the Devil's Slide, and then on up to the summit of La Madre Mountain. And here is why I'm taking a few shots from this point. Look how close we are to this rise here. When we hit the top of this rise, we've done most of our ascending. Maybe. I don't know what it looks like on the other side of the rise, but it looked like it was less dramatic of an ascent. And it went straight over to the summit of El Padre Mountain. That would be so cool. And then looking over in this direction, you're looking at the Keystone Thrust. And on the other side of these cliffs, you'd be looking straight down on Red Rock Park and Calico Basin. And we'll see, hopefully we'll see some of that perspective when we hit the top of this next rise. So continuing on, as you can see, the surface is requiring a lot of navigating around rock formations, a little bit of class 3, but mostly just class 2, and keep your balance on the rocks. So nothing really exposed, nothing really difficult, but you just got to keep your head and weave around these formations on this ridge. And there's a key to weaving around each formation without having to descend a steep section. But it takes a little piecing together the route. But it's been a great route. Now, here on the questionable side, remember, temperature is one of the themes of today. And the temperature now at this elevation, which is around 74 or 500 feet, which is just about 500 feet shy of the summit of El Padre Mountain. The temperature here is now 81 degrees. Really interesting, because last week, well, today it was estimated that the temperature in the Las Vegas Valley would rise to 91 degrees. And when we hit our high point last week up on this hill, it was still 68 degrees. Now, closing in on 10 o'clock, with a lot of sun heat still to come, it's already 81 degrees. And so, as I'm standing here, I'm thinking of the descent. Now, we're going to be descending later in the afternoon, and as we descend, the temperature is going to rise. If we hit 90 degrees at the summit of El Padre Mountain, wow, this is going to really tax the limits of high temperature navigation on the way back, because we will be in 90 to 100 degrees by the time we end up at our point of origin down there. So why is the temperature so much higher today than last week, when there's only 1 degree difference in the Las Vegas Valley? And here's my theory. My theory is that all week it has been between 90 and 100 degrees in the Las Vegas Valley, which has heated up the land quite a bit. And it's kind of like you take a dish out of the dishwasher right after it's gone through its cycle. It's almost too hot to hold. Well, that's the land here. pretty hot, and it conserved that heat. So 91 degrees today down in the valley is a lot hotter than 90 degrees was. We're about, gosh, we are 10 degrees warmer right now than we were at this altitude last week, even though it's only 1 degree higher in the valley. So I think that heat has heated up the land through this past week. Also, there was some cloud cover last week, and that helped. Now we have the straight, unshielded sun beating down on this land. So the remainder of this little journey is going to tax our temperature limit, our high temperature limit. And we're gonna make some discoveries how to manage when you find yourself suddenly in a higher temperature than you'd planned to be in. And we'll be at the limit before we reach our destination as we return to Kyle Canyon and Harris Springs Road. So we will be utilizing every bit of wisdom that I have gathered over the years in a lot of wilderness experiences to successfully manage this high heat descent. Anyway, here is, looking down in this area, is, you see a little pond and a little area with trees. That's, I believe, the Harris Springs Ranch. Very beautiful little spot. And let's just take a look at a few mountains here. Let's start over here. Harris Mountain. Go to the left. Griffith Peak. Circle around to the right. Charleston Peak. Circle around a little bit more. Lee Peak. A little bit more. Mummy Mountain, and then in front, we've got Fletcher Peak. And that is the 6-peak circuit that we're going to attempt this summer around early July. So we're going to try all 6 of those peaks within the space of 24 hours or less. That should be a challenge this summer. Anyway, in order to get to that point, we've got to get up this hill today over to El Padre Mountain Summit and then descend through an increasingly hot Mojave Desert, sun-baked land back to our point of origin at the intersection of Harris Springs Road and Kyle Canyon Road. So there you have pretty much the summary of what lies ahead today. Well, we are near the top of this ridge that we've been shooting for. Seems like forever. And we're at one of my favorite parts of a climb where things begin to level off. And here's the top. Here's the summit right here. So we're going to go ahead, and we don't know what's over the other side of this. If it's all broken up and difficult, or if it's a straight, even trek to the summit of El Padre Mountain. We're going to find out in just less than 30 seconds. So here we are, and this is what we've been looking forward to, is getting to the very summit of this peak. This is the pointy hill that we've been shooting for today. Okay, well, what do you know? El Padre isn't the easy ridge trek that I thought it would be. We were hoping, but look at this. There is a descent and then ascent. There's El Padre Mountain there. Whoa. Well, we don't know what things are going to look like, but we're going to go ahead and scope this out and see if we can smooth this last section out somewhat. If we can, we'll make El Padre. If not, then that'll be a future experience. But guess what? As we summit this area, guess what we're looking down to? Bird's eye view of Red Rock Park. Closed due to social distancing at this time and for the last month. So this is probably a rare view of Red Rock Park during social distancing. Let's just take a look at what we can see from this very point. We're looking on this side of Red Rock Park at the Rainbow Mountains. And here in the center is Bridge Mountain. And then moving over a bit You can see Rainbow Mountain, Rainbow Wall, that cliff. And then moving over a little bit more, there's Mount Wilson. We are higher than Mount Wilson, though we have not ever achieved the summit of Mount Wilson yet. And, oh, let's see, North Peak. Where are you? North Peak is above Bridge Mountain. And, boy, I am just not sure which one is North Peak, but I can say that we're looking at it. I just haven't seen it from this perspective before. And then we're looking down this direction. You can see Blue Diamond Mountain. So these are all the familiar landmarks around the Red Rock Canyon, Red Rock Park area. You can see Blue Diamond Road out there heading out to the town of Blue Diamond, and then on out to over the hump, as they say, to Pahrump. There's the hump. And what else do we see? Well, looking straight down here, you can see the White Rock Mountain Road, that dirt road down there. And where it tees out is the Red Rock Park Scenic Drive. And looking right down here is White Rock Mountain. So there are a number of familiar locations. And then, of course, if you take a look in this direction, you're looking at the Keystone Thrust. We have made it to, and this is west of where we're standing right now. We've made it to that high point from Willow Springs. So there you have it. And then, of course, the Mount Charleston Wilderness off in this direction. So some really nice, familiar perspectives from up here. And we're going to continue on a little ways. Of course, down in the valley down there is Las Vegas. But let's see if it's possible to get over to El Padre Mountain summit from here. I tell you, it looks pretty broken up. So, no promises, but at least we're seeing both directions here. Okay. Coming around the corner here, El Padre Mountain in better view, and let's just take a look what we can see here. You can see the different fauna up here, topography, plant life, very, very different. All of a sudden we are in a tall juniper, tall pine forest. And just wanted to circle around. There's the summit of La Madre Mountain right there. And you can see in this area down here is the summit of the southern pass between El Padre and La Madre Mountain, and we've almost made the summit of that from Calico Basin. And here's the summit of El Padre Mountain. hopefully we'll get closer, but I don't know. There's a lot of obstacles to weave around, as you can see. Not a clear trail at this point. Maybe we'll find a trail. Who knows? Okay, onward. And there's the summit of El Padre Mountain straight ahead. And you can see we are right at the edge of the cliffs that you see at the back of Red Rock Park. Rainbow Mountains. Looking down to the Calico Hills in Red Rock Park. And you can see coming into view just the very tip of Turtlehead Peak. That's the summit of Turtlehead Peak down there. About halfway down the side of that cliff and behind. So you can see a lot of familiar places. Let's see. Let's just take a look. The sandstone quarry parking area is down there. The Red Rock Park high point on the Red Rock Park Scenic Drive is right there. And you can see the scenic drive winding around. So a high perspective of Red Rock Park from this location. And then again, White Rock Mountain and the Keystone Thrust and the summit of the Keystone Thrust. So yeah, it is very broken up in this area. I don't know if I could make a western trip to La Madre Mountain from let's see, Willow Springs. As I mentioned, I got up to this high point in the foreground, but look at what lies beyond. It's quite a dip, and it's just full of drop-offs, cliffs. So I'm not thinking that that is going to be a possibility. So if we're going to make the summit of La Madre Mountain, it's going to be from the north. Okay, so that gives you an idea. Again, another perspective where we are. Well, I got to say, we are at the limit of our trip today. Another drop off here, and I'm sure I could navigate around this. I'd need to go below quite a bit because this is a cliff ridge that extends quite a ways down, and I need to be right down below here, and then maybe I could ascend to this next summit or circle around and be up on El Padre Mountain there. So it is definitely a possibility from this direction, but not today, because I've navigated my way around to a dead end and I'm running out of time. We are only, I'd say 300 feet at the most shy of the summit of El Padre Mountain, which is right in front of us. And there you see La Madre Mountain to the left of El Padre. There's the summit of La Madre Mountain, and definitely doable from where we were last week, which was this point. We were standing on this little plateau, and you can see where you could potentially navigate around and up to the summit. I don't know. We'll have to explore these upper areas. I never do two of these long experiences 2 weeks in a row, which I have done this time around, and so I'm pretty exhausted. I did want to get up to see what was in this high area, which we have scoped it out. We know that a western approach is not going to be possible from Willow Springs and Red Rock Park along the top of the Keystone Thrust. The only approaches are the southern approach, which comes up both sides of the cliff on the right and the left side of El Padre Mountain. Maybe we could still do a loop. Not sure. It's pretty rugged up here, as you can see. It is again 80 degrees. We need to descend around 4,000 feet. And when we hit the bottom, I can tell you, we're going to be in the 90s. And so that's going to take every bit of wisdom and strategy that I can muster up to manage that high temperature. But for now, great view of Red Rock Canyon. And straight down through the canyon there, you see the Rainbow Mountains to your right. And the cliff system of the Keystone Thrust straight ahead to the west of us. Panning around, you see the tip of the Calico Hills. And Blue Diamond Mountain in the background. So all our familiar views in Red Rock Park. That's pretty cool. And we're looking at an entirely different forested area up here. Very cool. I think if I just navigated this correctly, I might be able to find a way around the lower edge of this little cliff outcrop without climbing on it. Definitely don't want to do that. Too risky. So perhaps at some point in the future we'll check that out, see if there is a way around the edge. And if we can get down just below where we are here, it looks like a pretty straight shot to the summit of El Padre Mountain. That's going to be when I've had a couple weeks rest and a little more energy than I've got right now. So now we're going to pick our way through the forest here. Very beautiful forest. So different than the lower desert. Pines and junipers. So we're going to pick our way through this forest and back to that high point, straight down the ridge to the turnaround at the top of the four-wheel drive road. And we'll look at timing. I have been going now for about 6 hours. And I'm thinking it could be as little as 3 hours for the return trip. We don't know, but we'll find out really soon. But what a day. Here's another beautiful high perspective of the Madre Mountains wilderness. 4 times the size of Red Rock Park. And just across the northern border of Red Rock Park. 40,000 acres. Okay, here we go. Return trip, and let's see how long it takes us. Circled around again. We're ready to head down. And just a little navigation wisdom is that you see a ridge here and a ridge there. Both of them go down. They look like they're going to reach the four-wheel drive road, and we can see the top of the four-wheel drive road down in the distance, and let's see if we can pick out the turnaround down there. Boy. Yeah, there we go. There's that turnaround. So the question is, which of these ridges did we ascend? And so that was a question for a moment. And the way I answered that question was 2 ridges, a canyon between, and the canyon actually is to the right of that four-wheel drive turnaround. And we know we didn't descend into that canyon to the right. If we go down this ridge over here, we would end up above that canyon actually. So my best wisdom is that we head straight down this ridge system over here, and that is going to take us around and down to the four-wheel drive road. So let's see if that's right. If it's not right, we're going to have a little bit of re-navigation down at the bottom, but I'm pretty certain this is indeed the ridge we ascended. And it's looking pretty familiar as far as the series of rocky sections to navigate around. So here we go, and we'll get a timing. I think I'm going to stay up here for about a half hour and just refuel and rest. It is, we're looking at 75 degrees temperature, so that's okay. Not looking forward to descending down into the lower temperatures down there. And you can see the end of Harris Springs Road where it tees out at Kyle Canyon Road, and just a little bit to the left where the beast is parked. So that's where we need to get to. It took about 4.5 hours to get up here, minus the time that I've been spending taking pictures and videos. I'm thinking maybe 3 hours getting down, 4 at the most. So we'll see. We'll get a time reading before we head down. But for now, time to refuel. Heading down now, 84 degrees at 7,700 feet. You can only imagine what it's going to be down at the bottom at 4,500 feet. So, yes, it's going to be hot. Anyway, down we go. Right down this ridge. It's 12:20, by the way, and as I said, it took me about 4.5 hours to get up here. Let's see what time it is by the time we get down to the four-wheel drive road. And that took 2 hours to get up here from there, a little over 2 hours. And then took 2 hours, about 2.5 hours to get from the Harris Springs and Kyle Canyon Road to the top of the four-wheel drive road. So we'll compare times on the way down to what it took on the way up. And by the way, here's a much better view of Spring, let's see, Harris Springs Ranch. And I think, let's see, where is that? I think it's right there, right in the center. Okay, onward, down we go. Hi, I'm David Smith, and I'm one of the two owners, along with Jonathan Marks, of the Las Vegas Health and Fitness Chamber. And in just a few days, on this coming Thursday, I'll be presenting a training on connecting with your why, meaning your purpose, the purpose that you do what you do. And when you have a strong why, it fuels everything you do. It influences everything you do. It turns what you do from a job into a calling. And this is my why. This is why I was attracted to assume the ownership of the Las Vegas Health and Fitness Chamber, because I want to be able to do what I'm doing today for a number of years to come. I am currently, my 65th birthday is going to be this coming September 6th, just in another 3 months from now. And today I did a cross-country experience through the wilderness that was the equivalent of about 25 miles round trip. And immersing myself in the wilderness is just the most beautiful thing I can imagine. And I'm in the Las Vegas. I took ownership of the Las Vegas Health and Fitness Chamber along with Jonathan Marks in order to surround myself with people whose focus is health. Because I feel like if I surround myself with these people, that this is going to influence my own health. So that is my why. And I encourage you to get in touch with your why, whatever it is that inspires you to do what you do and turns it from a job into a calling. Get a strong grasp on that, and everything else in your business will fall into place. This is part of my exploration, systematic exploration, and documentation of wilderness areas around Las Vegas. And these explorations and documentations can be found on LasVegasAreaTrails.com, another one of my websites. Here's hoping and expecting that you will be in touch with your why, and that will turn your work from a job into a calling. Okay, I've got to get over this this little ridge here. Time for a temperature check. It is 86 degrees. There is a nice breeze, which is really helpful. We're closing in on the loop at the end of the four-wheel drive road. So we did select the correct ridge to go down. Our reasoning was just right. Anyway, it's about we're at about 62 to 6,400 feet, and we need to get to 4,500 feet. So we can expect that if it's 86 degrees right now, it's going to be over 90 degrees by the time we get down to our point of origin at the intersection of Harris Springs and Kyle Canyon Road. Feeling good right now. Been drinking lots and lots of water. I still have 2 liters left. And once we hit the four-wheel drive road, we may be back in as little as an hour. So all we need to do is endure 1 hour of higher temperatures. Of course, I will slow down and slow my metabolism if I get too hot, so I don't overheat. And that's one thing I'm able to do, is to some extent control my metabolism. And when it gets too hot, I just slow everything down, and that keeps me from overheating. So continuing on down now to the loop end of the four-wheel drive road, which is right down in this area below us. Okay, I missed the four-wheel drive road and basically have no idea where I am. So this next section of our adventure is going to be entitled Finding Your Way Back on Track When You're Lost. And fortunately, I have a lot of water. I still have close to 3 liters of water, which is very important. Let's see, what else can I say? I'm looking for landmarks. And the landmarks I'm looking for are ridges that I know I need to navigate around. And one is this ridge straight ahead. I need to circle around this ridge and down to Harris Springs Road. And I'm hoping that I'm going to find if I keep heading in that direction, that I will find the four-wheel drive road, because that'll speed things up. If not, then at least I'm heading down to Harris Springs Road. But it could be a little brutal in this weather, trying to navigate around, back and forth, looking to find my way in this increasing heat. But one thing that I have in my favor is I still have close to 3 liters of water. And so that should get me quite a ways. And I know I need to head down. I can see Harris Springs Road way down there. And hopefully I'm not going to need to just navigate through this kind of terrain. I'd like to get on that four-wheel drive road so that I can get up a little speed and make that last part of the trip 1 hour rather than multiple hours. So, looking at the ridge up ahead, and navigating through brush along the way that I was hoping to avoid, with the goal of getting back on track, getting to the four-wheel drive road and then running it back to where I started. So another little, besides looking at the ridge system, another trick to finding your way is to stay high. Do not get down into the valleys because you have no visibility. So I'm heading up this area right here, and we'll see where we end up. Okay, I'm thinking I go around the left side of this ridge here, this hill system. Otherwise, I would need to be going around the left side of that hill system. And as I'm looking up, I'm seeing my target up there at an angle that says I need to go further this way in order to get back on track. So I'm going to go to this ridge straight ahead, and my guess is that I will find the four-wheel drive road between me and this ridge. If I don't, then I'll circle around the left side of the ridge and down. Here we go. Well, guess what? Here we are at the four-wheel drive road. And yes, I did overshoot it, but heading to toward this ridge, which I recognized was the way to get back on track. And so now let the races begin. Got a lot of time to make up since we lost a lot of time getting off course. But we're back on course and down we go. Okay, temperature is about 88 degrees right now. And I've gone through 3 liters of water. I have approximately 3 more liters left. So I'm in good shape, and I'm within the last 45 minutes of this adventure. So entering the hot spot. We are on Harris Springs Road again. It's about 86 degrees, so the temperature has been from 85 to 88 degrees all the way down so far. We got the hottest half hour coming up. Got a lot of water still, which is good. Definitely enough for this next half hour. And I'm feeling good, actually. So onward we go. Okay, here we are back at the beast. I still have about, I'd say a little over a liter of water left. Maybe between 1 and 2 liters, liter and a half. So, not bad. The temperature is in the low 90s at this point, 92, 93. So, definitely we've been dealing with high temperatures. That slowed me down a bit. Not able to run as much as I wanted on the way back. just due to being so hot. But still, here we are, made it back. And where we made it to today was this pointy hill up there. That was our destination, and then a little beyond, and overlooks of Red Rock Park and Calico Basin. Been a great day. Almost got to El Padre Mountain. Definitely discovered what's involved in navigating that area. Learned a number of things which you'll see on the video, which you've seen in the video. So, in all, great day of discovery. Okay, signing off for today.